The issue of human rights is a global matter, but the Philippines has been tagged in recent years as one of the worst violators of human rights. These reports cite many cases of extrajudicial killings, torture, and enforced disappearances. Now, to address this problem, a new program has been launched to support innovative and creative projects dealing with human rights. Joining us in the studio to tell us more about Karapatan sa Malikhaing Paraan, or the KaSaMa project, is Phillip Don G, the coordinator of KaSaMa. Phil, good morning. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning, Ron.
Talk to us about KaSaMa. When did it start and what are its goals?
Well, KaSaMa started in 2009. It was initiated by a group of international partners. It was launched first in UP, and then so this year it is its second run. We just launched it last August 25 at the Instituto Cervantes, wherein we showed the objectives of the program being to support innovative human rights projects, because it was developed from an observation of these international partners that previous support to human rights initiatives have been rather traditional or conventional. You have your education sessions, you have your conferences. Not that your these do not work, but you need to refresh your approach. You need to refresh your initiatives, because more often than not, there are still pressing human rights problems that are not really addressed by traditional or conventional means.
Give us a sample of those innovative means, those creative ways, and pushing for your advocacy.
Right. So last year, during the first run, there were 12 out of 212 proposals submitted by various civil society organizations. There were 12 finalists selected by these international partners, these donors. So one of them used the form of media, film advocacy. They gave out like grants to budding filmmakers. Right. Another one is that there's a group wherein they used the transportation, the public transportation, to post signs that promote,
like mobile billboards.
Yes, mobile billboards. Another one is that they empowered the vulnerable sectors themselves, wherein for example, the detainees, they empowered them to manage the decongestion problem in the jails. They empowered them to be sort of paralegal consultants to their fellow inmates, which you don't normally have in regular human rights, in traditional conventional human rights initiatives. And then there are the women empowerment. There's also using media, forms of media to document, to record human rights issues, and you teach this to regular individuals. And then there's also another project wherein they provided a little bit of funding to help out landless farmers. And then another one is connected to using psychological training to enhance the skills of human rights activists and human rights workers.
And how do you measure the effectiveness of these initiatives?
Well, basically, we look at first the innovativeness, what is different, what is being added to the field of human rights initiatives. Second, we try to look at the impact. So in our proposal, we ask in one portion of the proposal, what is the baseline situation of your area? So we try to measure that based on what are the results after the project was implemented for a period of time.
Okay. You mentioned it a while ago during its first run, which was when again?
It was in 2009, and the projects were implemented 2010 to 2011.
And you had 212 proposals.
Yes.
You're going to have another run at this. Just to clarify, KaSaMa will be funding these projects. Once these people submit those projects, it's going to undergo a screening process, and you're going to choose these initiatives, and you're going to be funding them, right? How do groups go about submitting their proposals and their proposals for their initiatives?
Right. For this year, we put up a website. It's called www.kasama.ph. Basically, the groups just have to go to this website. It's very friendly. They can download the guidelines, the application form, and also sample proposals that were submitted last year. So somehow it would be easy for them to picture out what would KaSaMa proposal.
Oh, right.
Yeah, look like. So there. And after that, we will, the proposals must be submitted on or before October 28, which is the deadline. And then there will be a period of screening wherein we will inform the winning proposals, the winning organizations after a month of screening.
Are there qualifications or restrictions for an organization to join? Does it have to be an established organization? Can it be just like a new organization that I formed with my friends, and then we just have an idea and then just send a proposal to you?
The limitations, the guidelines is actually very lenient in terms of who are qualified. We basically need that the organization must be established, either SEC registered or...
Oh, they have to be SEC registered, okay.
Not necessarily. SEC registered, there can be cooperatives which are not necessarily SEC registered.
Oh, okay,
They can be
okay.
student organizations as long as they
There
are
you go.
vouched by their universities. They can be people's organizations, farmers associations, women's federations, as long as these are either recognized by their local governments, by the SEC, and by their universities. Yeah.
In the last round, did you have a lot of people belonging to the youth sector
Yes,
submitting their proposals?
Yes, we did. We had one in Miriam College where a student organization submitted a proposal, and then they really gave a feedback that it was easy to submit. So during the launching, they talked about, they gave a witness sort of comment that for any organization, don't hesitate to join KaSaMa because it's really easy to submit a proposal.
Okay, who will be judging these proposals by the groups?
Well, there are two levels. There are two levels of screening. First, there is the screening panel that will be composed of very prominent individuals in human rights, wherein the objective is to screen out who are the eligible, who are qualified, meaning they have the organizational capacity,
Okay.
they fulfilled all the requirements that was mentioned in the guidelines. Then second, it will the screened proposals will be submitted to the international partners who will make the final decision on who will make it to the cut. So we can go as many as 12 or 15, depending on which proposals are really the most innovative in this round.
You have some names for the judges? Have you chosen them already?
Right, we haven't really we don't have the final names.
Okay,
yet.
the criteria for selecting the winning proposals.
Yes.
What would the judges be basing on? What would the judges be looking at when they select the proposals?
Of course, we look at primarily innovation, meaning what has not been done yet. Second, we for practicality's sake, we look at organizational capacity. Do they have the capacity to implement? Do they have the capacity for financial management and all? And then second, we look at the impact, the potential impact of your project to your human rights issues, because as much as possible, we would like these proposals to address the local human rights issues. If you are from somewhere in Visayas or Mindanao or in Luzon, but of course we also accept in general proposals that cover a wider spectrum of human rights, because in our guidelines we did say that we will accommodate human rights proposals that cover political, civil, economic, social, and cultural rights.
I'm sure the KaSaMa and its partners are aware of the situation in the country. I want to ask you your assessment and your partner's assessment on the overall situation here in the country. Has it improved? Has it deteriorated?
Well, before we started the KaSaMa launch, there was a preliminary activity wherein we conducted a focus group discussion with human rights CSOs, civil society organizations, and what came out from that discussion was that perennial human rights violations still persist. Like, for example, the effects of mining in rural areas, the effects of violent dispersals, the effect of enforced the violations of enforced disappearances are still apparent. You have IPs still being violated in their area. So there is a lot of grounds already covered when it comes to how we have progressed in terms of human rights, but there are still perennial human rights issues that should be addressed by a lot of groups, that can be addressed by a lot of groups, not only maybe by government, but also civil society organizations. That's why we are trying to, that's why we initiated this campaign.
And you're optimistic with these proposals and with these groups helping out, you will be able to fight those violations of human rights?
Well, we are optimistic in the sense that this will provide at least a sort of hope for a lot of CSOs that there's funding, there's a capacity for their,
right.
We're providing capacity for their ideas. So, and then of course the previous KaSaMa run has also proven that we could provide skills, we could provide an impact on human rights issues that have been identified.
Talking about funding, you mentioned funding. If a proposal is accepted by KaSaMa, how much money will be given to them or will be available for them, for their advocacy, for their proposal? Well,
based on the guidelines, we have provided a maximum of 1 million. So the proposals can have a budget up to a maximum of 1 million, or it could also go lower than that, depending on what they need for their projects.
Okay. Phil, you can invite everyone who shares in your advocacy to join the project.
All right. I would like to invite all the civil society organizations, KaSaMa, which is a grant competition with the aim to provide support to innovative human rights projects, to submit proposals that would address either your local human rights issues or a general human rights issues that you think that is critical. And then please, you can submit it to either through email, through fax, or through courier. You can visit our website, which basically gives you a 1, 2, 3 step. There are 3 boxes in our website that features KaSaMa is as easy as 1, 2, 3. So the deadline of submission is until October 28, 5 p.m. And then we have already set the date for the awarding ceremony, which will be December 7, coinciding with the Human Rights Week. That day.
Okay, Phillip Don G, coordinator of KaSaMa. Thank you very much, Phil.
Thank you, Ron.
Coming up, the